Welcome everybody to the Room250 Podcast.
One tiny pixel at a time.
We all have a Room 250. It's that room where creativity happens.
Welcome back everybody to the Room250 Podcast, where creatives sit down, have a conversation, and hopefully inspire current and future designers to crush their creative goals one pixel at a time. I am one of three hosts, Arturo Pete Peralta. I am joined by my two best friends, Martin Erosoy Bautista and David Patrick Sly. What's up, gentlemen?
What
What's
up?
up? Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Hit that bell notification. Like and comment down below. Tell us what we're doing good. Tell us what we're doing bad. Follow us on Instagram. Hit those likes. Share that content on your stories. Give us some comments as well. That helps us as well. As well. We're also on the TikTok. I hope. I'm not sure, but you know.
I think we are. Are we not? I don't know, man. They keep bringing it back. They take it away. Bring it back. Take it away. Well, for you guys that are new to this podcast, what is Room 250? Room 250 is where creativity happens. Boom. Let's go, guys. Let's do this.
Just like that.
Fuck yeah, bro. That's where creativity happens.
On tonight's episode, we are going to talk about building a magazine from scratch. So what it takes to build out an entire publication, the pressure that comes with it, the challenges, but also the excitement. So it's definitely going to be a good listen from the perspective of myself and Martin and Sly. So, but before we jump into that, what's everybody drinking?
A little ASMR every time.
There we
go. A little
go.
Modelo. We have a lot of Modelos left over from a party, so it's going to be a while that I'm drinking Modelos.
Nice. Martin, what are you drinking?
So this weekend we went over to Lee's Liquor, and one of the, those people that give you drinks gave me a drink of this.
A server.
Ooh,
I don't know what the
one of
title
those
is.
server people that serve you stuff.
This is a brand new Jim Beam pineapple.
Dude, that's like sipping by the
So
pool
good.
kind of whiskey. Like
I bought it
that's not even whiskey.
on Sunday. Look how this thing's dangerous, man. This is so dangerous. It's so good. It just hits perfect. Like I said, like Pete had a little taste of it and he liked it a lot too.
Yeah. No, I mean that was legit like drinking pineapple juice.
And you can drink it straight.
Yeah.
That's the thing too.
Well, I don't know
Straight
about
is
that.
good.
I'm sipping on it. Like,
like you don't have to mix it with anything. Like it's already kind of like a mixed cocktail. Like the flavor is so good.
Yeah.
And I love pineapple, dude. It's one of my favorite fruits.
Yeah. So it was definitely delicious. It was dangerous. I could definitely see being a little shit faced if I drank that on a hot summer.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put this over here far away.
Day drinking.
Dude,
day
drinking. In a minute.
I can't get mad with day drinking. I just wish I had like a pool, so then at nighttime I'd just be chilling by the pool when it's 100 degrees outside, just hanging out.
Yeah, it's
the best. But anyways, let's roll into tonight's episode. Okay, so I'm trying to think of like how I can go about this tonight's topic, and it's just kind of dive into it and for all of you listening, Lauren, our number one fan, well, shout out to Lauren. Anytime I see this stuff on social media where it's like me posting stuff like a photographer, an artist, it's that scene from Ford versus Ferrari, where the guys, like everyone around him is celebrating, no one is acknowledging him except for the actual Ferrari owner, like makes eye contact with him and he's like, cheers. And it always says me posting all my artwork and my one fan that always likes everything. So I always think of Lauren because she likes our stuff.
Aww,
so thank you, Lauren, for listening to our stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren.
Appreciate
You're the
it.
Best.
Do more. No, I'm just kidding.
Share. Okay, so when we went to art school, everyone talks about all the stuff that you want to do. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I want to be in animation. I want to do video games. I want to work at Pixar. I want to design magazines. Magazine was one of the things that I said in the back of my head. Or actually, I said that out loud towards the end of AI. I was like, I want to design magazines. And then at the time, our teacher, Jerry Miller, hit me with a bunch of questions. What's a gutter? What's a footer? What's a folio? What's this? What's that? And I was like, I do not know any of that. Like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. And that really crushed me. I was like, damn, I need to check my ego. Like I'm a cocky dude, but I was really cocky straight out of school, like most people are, regardless of what
you're
industry you're
graduating,
in.
you think you're the shit, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Coming into the field, brand new. I was green as fuck. And he asked me, and I was just like, "You're right. I don't know any of this stuff." So I studied a little bit, but at the time, I was like, "Okay, where could I work in the magazine here in Las Vegas?" And the weekly was always a very big inspiration for those of you that are listening that are not part of Las Vegas. We have a weekly magazine called Las Vegas Weekly. Our speaker here will pull it up for those of you who are watching, and it's
it's like
weekly,
cultural kind of magazine.
Yeah, it's a weekly publication. I mean, lots of artists, photographers, in-house photographers, designers have done a lot of artwork. And I mean, it gets pushed out. It gets pushed out on a weekly basis. I think they circulate maybe 40,000 copies every week, which is a lot. And some of these covers are photographs, and some of these covers are illustrations. They have a lot of fun, so I really enjoy that creativity.
Yeah, shout out to Ian Racoma. He's a buddy. I think he still works there. I'm not sure.
That's Las Vegas Magazine.
He was doing a
Martin.
lot of. That's Las Vegas Magazine, Martin.
Yeah,
you need.
They're part of the same one. Yeah. They're under Greenspun Media, but it's the Las Vegas Weekly. Martin's just over here sharing everything.
Hold on, I'll find it again.
So
timestamp that. Martin sharing life.
So that was one of the biggest inspirations, And as I went through my career, I don't know about you guys, but I always wanted, okay, what could I put my artwork? Where could it be seen? And we do stuff around the city. You have a billboard, and you have backlits, and you have casino property and mailers, web banners, all that other stuff. But nothing for me. Doing one single magazine cover was an achievement of mine. I'm like, how can I get to check that box? I achieved that goal, that one single goal. And it took 14 years to achieve that goal. So it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But I just want to talk about this, about how it started. So a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, I was put in contact by Sly with his editor. His name was Don Chirinci. He's a big Las Vegas editor. They were looking for an art director because they were starting a new magazine, right? So Sly shares my contact information. I finally get a call after 2 weeks. Honestly, I had forgotten about it. I totally forgot that the whole thing was happening. So I jump on a phone call with who I now know as the publisher. I didn't know that at the time. We're talking back and forth, and one of the biggest things he asked is, do you have publication experience? And at that time, I didn't. I was honest with him. I said, you know what? I've done ads, I've done spreads, but I've never designed an entire magazine or done anything like that before. But it's definitely not out of my wheelhouse. Knowing the skill set that I can bring, knowing the skill set that I have, I like to think of myself as a very well-rounded designer. And I think the one line that did win me, and I know I wasn't their first choice. I think I was maybe third or fourth down the line. And that's okay, because it worked out for me.
Hey, third place is third place.
Right?
Still get a medal. Still get a medal.
Yeah, so they're like, do you have any publication experience? I said no. And I do think that the one thing that did win me that interview was that I told him, I go, look, in my previous role that I had just was wrapping up, I'm like, I've never designed a mobile app or any kind of app. And, I was able to successfully launch the Go Boldly. It was a financial literacy app from the ground up. I did all the UI, UX stuff. That was the very first time I did it. Developed characters, backgrounds, motion, promotional stuff, marketing material, brand identity. I literally designed the entire app from scratch. And, it helped. I was like, so I'm definitely dedicated to my craft, and all I need is the opportunity. And he liked that answer. And, he hit me up. He's like, okay, let me put some numbers together, and I will, call you back. So when he called me back, and he's like, okay, I want to offer you the job. The pay is $65,000. And I'm like, shit, dude, like that's a little low for me. I was losing quite an amount of money going from contract work to Vegas Prime Magazine as an art director. which is surprising, right? Like how much do you think a art director should make for a magazine?
Oh, that's something.
If it was you, right? Like you're interviewing for this, there's no pay on there. There's no pay on there, and pay is something that we do want to get into in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
You're applying for this job. You have it on here. You're shit, okay.
He tell you how often the magazine's going to print?
Nope, didn't tell you.
He didn't tell me
that. We were starting from scratch. We were not taking over any other current publication. We were starting from scratch. And keep in mind, you have no experience doing this. The laying an ad or laying a two-page spread is very like scratching the surface kind of thing. So how much do you think a person like that should be getting paid?
I think that somebody should at least be making 70 to like 90 a year.
Okay, that's a good range for an art director for a magazine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's art director. Yeah, here in Vegas, I think it depends where you're at, but like, there's a report that just came out that says that, if you're making like 70,000, you're like middle income. What's it called?
Okay.
You're like, you're middle class. Yeah, here in Vegas it's like 70 to like 100
150. Like it's like 100.
Yeah,
that's a big difference. That's a big thing.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah. I think if you're any type of director should be at least like middle class wage, don't you guys think, or more?
Well, I'm asking you. Like here in Las Vegas, you're about to be again.
I was going to say 70 to 75. Because you the only designer.
Hold on. Let's not give away the whole pie first. So you're going into it. You're going into it as a startup, right? And again, I'm telling you my story, and just put yourself in my shoes. Again, neither one of you have publication experience like that either. Actually, you do, Sly. So that makes sense on that part. Yes. Okay. So you said 70 to 90. That's your range, Martin. And then what about you, Sly?
I would say 70 to 75.
70 to 75
for starting for like 10 minutes of shit. He was like,
what's the correct range for the art director? ChatGPT, please tell me.
Now, as an art director for a magazine, how big do you think the team should be or would be?
I would say at least 3 designers for me. I would have, your
Juniors?
art director.
Okay, go ahead.
You have your art director. You have a production artist. And then you have your mid-range, which is like graphic designer, lead designer sort of thing.
Are you just talking about the art department, Pete, or as a whole?
Just the art department. Just the art department.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm thinking like, creative / art directors, laying out the entire thing. They're then passing that, okay, this is the general look, passing that off to, either production or graphic designer to finalize it. And then production's doing any of the little changes, combing through, that sort of shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with Sly. 3 people, but I think you'll be fine with 2. Like the director sets the look and feel, designs like the hardest parts, and then your junior goes in there and fills in all the copy and drops and lays everything out. That's what I would see it. But with 3 people, I think it would be like kind of like the sweet spot.
Okay. All right. So 3 people. And then how many? What additional stuff would you think would come with that would be part of the art department? Like what additional that wasn't working on design? Like for example, right?
Photo shoots. Yeah, right. Photo shoots.
So you would think of a photographer, a coordinator,
specific artists for covers. Like if you want to do like some badass cover, reach out to like Carlos Martinez to do handcrafted something like that. Have a list of a bunch of different designers. Freelancers.
Okay. All right. So, again, he told me the range, and the range was 65. Oh, sorry, the pay, and the pay was $65,000. And I go, ooh, that's kind of I'm losing like $25,000 going from one spot to this one. But this was definitely something on my bucket list. I'm like, okay, shit, can I make this work? So I go back and forth with him, and I say, hey, look, based on the information that you've given me, and how fast they're looking to bring someone on board yesterday, right? Like they need someone ASAP on there. I'm like, since I don't have the experience, how about meet me at 70? And he's like, okay, yep, I could definitely do that. He's like, I'm actually thinking about hiring a second person to work underneath you. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what your budget is, but I definitely have some people that I could, probably reach out to depending on the salary range.
Yeah.
So I accept the offer. I start working, and I meet with the publisher. I meet with the editor. And it's like, all right, cool. We are a digest size magazine, and digest size means like it's small. It fits in your pocket, kind of thing. And we are the exact same size as Vegas to Go. Now, for those listening that are not part of Las Vegas, Vegas to Go is a tourist publication that's mainly aimed for like directional information, kind of like a index
times,
show times, where to eat,
like maps-ish,
things to do,
around town, around Vegas, and it's been popular for a very, very long time. But it's just literally a listings magazine. They have a few articles in there, but they changed it up after COVID because Vegas took a big hit. But it just has that big arrow that says Vegas to Go.
Yeah, these are right here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and if you click on one of them,
over and over,
it's always the same cover. It's dark cover, light cover, dark cover, light cover. They always do that. And so those of you that are watching, you could see, the magazine. They have their ads, and they print out quite a few of these. So they have, Vegas to Go has been around for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
So they have, it's been obviously a successful, successful publication. So, okay, so you meet with the publisher, and okay, so it's day one. You guys are sitting down and you're like meeting with the editor, and they give you the size. So you already have the sizes built out, right? Because you're able to quote unquote liberate them from Vegas to Go. It's the exact same size. Vegas to Go had a media kit that was all their sizes already built out. So boom, you don't have to build out any of those files. That's great, right? But that would have been step number one. What's the size of the publication with bleed? How's it going to fold, right? What questions, or where would your mind go on day one, starting this publication? Like, what would you do?
First thing I would ask is, where's the logo? Is there a logo? Do you need a logo? I'm sure you made. I don't know. Did you ask that question?
We're just talking. We're just talking. I'm just picking your brain.
So you're asking
I'm
first.
literally going to be like, what? I'm going to ask, what assets do you have? Do you have any brand guidelines? Do you have any logos?
No.
No. If they say if they say no logo, then I'm not going to ask for brand guidelines. What do you have? Is what I'm going to ask.
Nothing.
Then I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so you have nothing. Do we have any content for the first issue?
No, we have no content, and we go to print. Okay. And we go to print in 4 weeks.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Do we have any like general ideas of what the content might be? Is anybody working on that? Because if we're going to go in 4 weeks, we need to have that shit done soon.
It's a tourist publication, so we're going to focus on the tourist market. So there's a dining section. There's going to be an entertainment section. There's going to be an out and about section, and then a couple of listings. So there's going to be.
What's the page count?
The editor is working on that.
What's the page count?
The page count as of right now can be between 70 to 75 pages. Might go down. It might go down, and it's going to be a perfect bind book.
Okay.
Out of those 65 pages, go ahead.
Yeah, what's the ratio for ads to content?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, how many of those pages do we have to design, and how many of those pages are going to be pre-designed and I just drop them in?
50-50, 60-40.
Yeah. So you guys are asking really good questions on that part. So I asked the exact same those questions, right? The sizes, do we have a logo? Do we have a look and feel? Is there anything that you're thinking or that has inspired you, or a direction that you want to go towards with this publication? Again, we're starting from scratch. There is nothing that's been designed for this. So it's, you're being brought on to take care of all this. And they
that's
say,
that's the designer's dream / nightmare, because anytime I've ever been handed something where it's like, hey, you have free reign to do whatever, it's like, yes, awesome. Okay, but what's the content? We don't have the content. Oh, great. So now I have this giant white box that I have no idea what I'm going to put into it, but you're telling me I can do whatever I want. So it's like the catch-22. Am I going to do something great, or am I going to do something like really shitty first because we don't know the direction? I could go one direction, it could be fucking awesome, and then they're like, actually, we want to go this other way. You're like, fuck, I just wasted all this time over here.
I think I would, once I ask, what do you have? And I say nothing, then I'm like, all right, cool, let's get down. We got to get your logo done. What's the turnaround time for that? How much time do I have to build the logo? And then
2 days.
Ask, 2 days. Okay, cool. I got to get this shit in 2 days. I'm not going to sleep.
Can do that.
Easy.
What's my turnaround time? Like from now to print, how much time do we have? I think that's the most important. So you guys,
4
as a
weeks,
designer,
4 weeks,
know
4 weeks.
Yeah,
4 weeks.
So 4 weeks
cool.
minus 2 days for the logo, minus, you probably have a week of, not even a week, probably a couple days of, edits and copy changes and ad moves.
Well, you have 4 weeks. You have 4 weeks to do everything. Everything needs to be done. It needs to be reviewed. You need to set up stuff with the printer. So, let's see, where were we? It was the.
So you don't have anything. You were talking about that, and then you're like, okay, now where are we going from here? Are we going to do the logo?
Okay, there you go. So we're having a conversation, and page count. Page count comes into this, and the publisher says, this is going to be a perfect bound book. So that's, you have an actual spine, and everything's going to be glued together. So it's a perfectly bound book, not stapled or wired or anything like that. So that makes a difference too in the quality and feel of the magazine. If you pick up a magazine and it's spine stapled, it feels cheapy, right? In my eyes, it feels cheapy. But when it's perfectly bound, the cover and the back cover wrap around the content, it just feels nicer. It feels like a real magazine. So I get told that. And then I get handed what is called, back in the day, it's called a dummy. And the dummy is pretty much a thumbnail, boxes on a piece of paper or papers that tell you what the publisher or the editor are. In a traditional media, a publisher and an editor are the exact same level, exact same tier of responsibility. So they're not one outranks the other. The way that we had it was the publisher was in charge, then the editor, and then the editor and the art director were at the same level. Right? So the publisher hands me a dummy, and the dummy, there's 70 pages at the time, and he had just page 1 through 60 or 1 through 70, and he would say, we're gonna do 10 pages of whatever. I'm thinking an ad here. I'm thinking TLC, table of contents here. Ad here. Go a couple more pages. Ad here. Break here. And he goes, we're gonna do a map. We're also gonna do a map. And I was like, what do you mean a map? And he's like, a map of the city of Las Vegas. We need to do a map, but a map that doesn't look like what is currently out there in the market. Now, Martin, if you can look for Las Vegas map, and actually they have it in Vegas to go. If you go to Vegas to go, back to them, don't share your screen until you find it, but you'll see a map of the city. It's like a 3D map, and that thing has been around for quite some time. Actually, let me fucking find that file too, so I could.
I remember. I used to work at Front Desk, and the Vegas to Go magazine was the magazine we always gave out, like all the time. Yeah, and the map is very, very, very useful.
Exactly. Yeah. So like everyone was all about the map. Let's see if I could find it, but. So now, okay, I'm doing the tally. I'm like, okay, we need a logo. We need to design the magazine. I have no idea what that's going to look like. We have now narrowed it down to 66 pages or 68 pages. Not sure if I need to do the ads. Not sure what ads are going to go into it. And we need a map. Cool. All right, so I'm just writing these things down.
Outlining what needs to be done still.
Exactly. What needs to be done.
Very smart. Making a task list. For all our designers out there, make a task list.
So then it goes into, again, it's a startup. We are a startup. We are funded, but you have the art department, and you are now in charge of the art department. Now, how many people do you think it takes to run a magazine?
Well, I kind of have a little bit of bias because I work in magazines as well.
Before you started working at the RJ, how many people did you think it would take to run a magazine?
Before I worked at the RJ, I would say, I'd probably say like a team of 10.
A team of 10, okay.
Team of 10. But that's with no prior knowledge. You know, I was like,
yeah.
I can't possibly know what really goes into it on a big scale.
What about you, Martin?
Without looking at a magazine.
I would say I would say 3 designers is a sweet spot for the art department, and then you need your editor and the other dude. So I would say like six people.
6 people. Okay.
With your coordinator. So your editor and the other guy you said, and the coordinator.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say 6.
So we started the magazine with 4 people, and we ended the magazine with 4 people. At the highest peak, we had 6 people. All right. So
wow,
we literally had a skeleton crew running the Vegas Prime magazine.
But were you guys hiring like contractors to help out?
I'll get to that. Okay. So, so then we start. You know, you guys have asked these questions. It's like, okay, we need a logo now. Day 2, I in any job, when you get to there the first day, you don't really do anything. You're trying to set up all your email. You're trying to get the lay of the land, all that other shit. So I need to set up my department. I'm like, okay, how do I get organized? And I start asking questions too. I go, hey, do we have a server? They said no. Okay, well, I need to get with IT to create a server so I can transfer files onto the server in case my computer ever crashes. Hey, do we have any kind of like workflow software that we could traffic stuff, or how are we going to communicate within the team? Well, just emails. Oh yeah, no, that's old school. How do we need to fix? So now I need to figure out how I can save my own ass in case anything gets late, because I've never worked with these people, and sometimes people will just lie and say, oh, I already sent you that, or oh, I never got your email, or whatever it might be.
It must have stayed in my outbox.
Yeah, right. So I need to develop some kind of, Workamagic, Trello, Asana, some kind of work management system. I need to implement that into this company, right? Because I need my department to fire on all cylinders, so make sure that my shit is covered. But the first things first, we need a logo, right? The name of the magazine is going to be called Vegas Prime Magazine. Before I got there, the other side of the big company, it was one big company, and there was a bunch of, I think it's like 1,000 different little companies underneath that one umbrella. But they had a senior designer on the other side that couldn't handle what needed to be done for the magazine. She was already handling a lot of stuff for the restaurant, a lot of stuff for other events and shows that the company has.
Okay.
And the responsibility of giving a senior designer a full-size magazine that would be published bi-weekly was not in her wheelhouse. There was no way for her to do it. But I talked to the publisher and I go, so do you guys have any logos yet? Did anyone work on anything? And he goes, oh yeah, we have about 50 of them, and I don't like any of them, right? So I see them all, I line them all up, and I go through them, and they're just not good. They are not good logos, right? And they're like, I asked a question, who's going to be on the cover for the first issue? And they go, oh, it's going to be Jersey Boys. I'm like, cool. And they're like, you might have to do a photo shoot. I'm like, shit, okay. So I have to do a photo shoot, and they're like, here's the assets that we have now. And so I'm reviewing the logos that were created by the senior designer, and like the mock-ups that were created. So not to bash on her whatsoever, she was actually a really nice designer. This was one of the very first things that was presented to me as a concept that she had made. All right, for those of you that are looking, Vegas Prime, right? Not Vegas Prime Magazine, it was Vegas Prime, and you could just tell how.
This is the first edition.
Huh?
For those listening, this is the first proof.
Yeah. So this is what she created, and this is just a picture that I took. What she created that was laid out, and honestly, you could just tell that it's low quality. It's not something that is great. The color grading wasn't right. The cutouts weren't the best. The typography is not strong. It was just kind of like put together, right? Mm-hmm. So I looked at that and I was just like, yeah, that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
Using my skill set. So I go, okay, well, I know we have, so many things to do. I'm pretty strong at logo design, so I'm going to start with the logos. So I went ahead and just created a shit ton. Actually, give me 1 second. Let me see if I still have that file. I created a shit ton of logos, right? Literally just a variety. Now, I am going to compete against Las Vegas Magazine. I'm going to compete against The Weekly, against Vital Vegas, against every publication that's based in the tourist sector or is just here in Las Vegas. That's a big fucking thing to go, right? You're like, okay, I need to create a logo that's strong, that's recognizable, and that, you know, it's gonna do its job, basically. And so I just get to work, man. I just start laying shit out. And it's like, how can I create something? Oh, wait, hold on. I think I actually have more here.
He's finding even more logos he's made.
No. Here's some of
More!
All right. So here's some other concepts that were presented to me. Hold on. This doesn't share.
Somebody needs screen sharing permission.
Who's that?
Wait, you just did it earlier, bro.
It's telling me you need permission.
That's weird.
Oh no, I clicked
so
out of it.
weird.
I didn't click on anything yet. Yeah, right here. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. So here's another version, right, that she had created.
Okay.
You know, Prime, Vegas, just to me very, very basic. Nothing impressive of this. Like
I mean, for me, it looks like
it feels like a student made this.
Hey, we could. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it does look like a student made this, but it looks like, hey, these are concepts. Do you want to go like this kind of look, or you know?
But that's a very polished concept. Minutes. That is very, very. Now there is like at least 25 of these concepts like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just speaking off what I can see. You know what I mean?
So I mean, you're seeing So you're seeing like the logos here. Here's another version here.
What's the
right here? Right. Here's another one. Right. The Prime, the location. You hear your Vegas with a food shop. Right. So the theme is just it's Vegas. It's a Vegas tourist sector.
Yeah.
So
those were the ones you created, right? Or the ones
those that... for sure. Those are Pete's. Those are Pete's design.
Oh,
this guy. Were you not paying attention?
No, he's looking at something. I don't know.
No, I'm looking at maps. No, the issue doesn't have those maps. My bad. Anyways.
No, it does. It does. That issue has the maps. They're somewhere in there.
No, not on the online versions.
No, the map is on there, bro. Trust me. You went all the way through it. It should be towards the back, all the way at the back.
Yeah,
all the way. The
online version doesn't have it, homie. I literally
then if you just Google Las Vegas map, Vegas to go. Okay, if you want to share that real quick.
Whenever you ready. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Go ahead.
Share it up.
Here you go.
It up on the screen.
Yeah. All right. So this is the map that's super popular.
I worked on this.
For real?
You worked on that?
This looks like something I worked on when I was intern at I can't even remember the name of the company, but they were doing like Vegas Weekly and stuff. This looks like exactly what we were working on.
Really?
Yeah. Like when you said it's been around for a long time, I'm like, oh, this sounds familiar to something that I like touched.
Yeah, because this was when I was at Excalibur, like a long ass time ago, like 11 years ago. This was the map from them.
Okay. So, so I get to it and I design. So that's like again, we'll put a pin on that, and that's something that I have to design, right? But it needs to be different than what is already out there, right? So I get to designing logos, right? And it's just like, okay, I need to slap shit together, and I think it was 3 days before I did a turnaround, or 2 days. I know I was working fast, and I was excited because we were going to print soon, and I needed to develop the look and feel for it, right? So this is what I presented. All right, so I have my very first concept here. Again, I didn't have any assets yet, so I just kind of slapped shit on there, right? I'm like, let's get the look and feel for this, right? So we had the Vegas Prime magazine, I had that version. I had Vegas Prime like this. I had this right here, the star to signify, Vegas. And I tried different covers. This is an AI generated one. Vegas Prime spelled out completely.
Dare you use AI?
I wasn't sure exactly how, right? Vegas Prime. Yeah. I'm like, that looks too fucking blocky. The G right there kind of looks like a Q. So just trying different things.
Is that stock photo?
No, that's an AI photo also.
That's an AI photo.
Yeah, I was using Midjourney. To create a lot of this stuff.
Damn, this thing looks good.
Because I didn't want to, and again, this is where AI does come into play. Like, I'm for AI if you know how to use those tools. Adapt or die kind of situations. And that's what I was doing with the magazine. With the magazine, I was like, okay, we need a beach shot for this, because we had talked about different covers that were going to be coming up. So I couldn't just think about the cover that was needed to go to print in 4 weeks. I also needed to think about the cover that goes to print in 6 weeks, and 8 weeks, and 10 weeks, because this is a bi-weekly publication. So I create all these concepts, right? I'm like, okay, no, Maroon 5 is going to be on one of them. So bam, create all these different alternates as I'm going, right? So I get to go present them, and I'm like, bam, I have all this other stuff. Let me stop sharing.
I don't know what it is, but I love that funky G.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So, why the fuck, man? I think I need a new computer. Sometimes this shit fucking just freezes on me.
Yeah, apparently Pete's supposed to be getting that new Mac Mini. Keeps talking about it.
So even right. So then I start again. Here's another shot. And I shared this on my Instagram, creating different all kinds of fucking layouts and next to each other and how they look. And I need to print these out. Is this
how your desk looked, or you set this up?
This is exactly how my desk looked, because I printed everything out on 11 by 17 and like, okay, how does this look? Because this is going to be a print publication. How much is, where does my spine start folding? Where does it get cut off? It needs to be legible from across the room. It's the lowercase text is a trendy thing right now. I like the lowercase. I want to go with lowercase, but big fat letters, but is it Vegas Prime? Then it gets too little. Is it just Vegas? We're not sure, right? I'm not sure. Even my publisher wasn't sure. He goes, I don't know, man. Like, we have to present this to the CEO. So I hired you for a reason. He was very hands off. That I appreciated. And it made me step up my game, because and here's that advice to anyone that's listening. If we talk about, as a designers, we talk about creative freedom. Always creative freedom. You let an artist have creative freedom, they're going to create dope shit. When you get handed creative freedom, make dope shit. Don't fucking fall short. Don't second guess yourself. Course. But ask your friends that, especially if you're working by yourself, ask your friends for input. Ask the community for input, that people that you trust, because you need that. A successful designer isn't successful by himself. I don't believe that for 1 second. Now, is that always possible? No, not at all. But I believe in teamwork makes the dream work, period. Right. Yep. So these guys, you guys remember, I would bounce shit off of you guys. Hey, what do you think about this? Does this look weird? Does this look too techie? And that was one of the issues that I was running into. I was like, okay, does this look too techie? Does it look better in uppercase? Does it look better in lowercase? So I was working on that, and then where did it go? Man, now I lost all my shit. Hold on 1 second. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I started designing, laying things out. Like you said, you guys saw the concepts, and those concepts that I shared were just between me and the publisher. So I make everything super nice, and in my head, I go, boom, this is it. This is it, because we work in the tagline. And the tagline was, your guide to Las Vegas done right. Right? So I mock this up nicely, and I go, bam, this is it. This shit looks dope. Vegas Prime, the E's crooked a little bit because the city's weird. That G's different. We have the tagline. It's a little
this was
thin,
the one I liked.
But I was like, it's unique. It's definitely different from what the Weekly has, from what Las Vegas Magazine has, from everybody else, right? Fucking awesome. Rejected. Right? CEO says,
"Get the fuck out of here with that logo. Give it more graphic design."
The CEO goes, "What the fuck is this? This is a cute. What the fuck is this?" No joke. The dude.
Were you in the meeting?
Yeah. The dude's like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, the younger generation. He goes, no, fucking bullshit. My kids are not fucking writing G's like this. Okay, cool. So, you tuck your tail between your legs and you don't win them all. Even at the art director level, even after 14 years of doing design, even when you feel confident as fuck. Boom, I have a fucking banger. This is going to be the shit. This is going to be seen throughout the city. This is going to be printed 100,000 times every 2 weeks. Denied.
Nope.
Denied. And like, shit, man. Right? Like, fuck, this fucking sucks. Well, back to the drawing board. And me and the publisher go back and they're like, okay, So what do you do then? You know, I'm like, okay, let's look at the other stuff that we have. And we had an alternate. We had the alternate. And the alternate was the safe version. The safe version of, hey, I think he's going to like this, but let's not show him this. Let's not show him what we want to show this one because it's just kind of meh. You know?
Okay. Safe. Yeah.
It's safe. It's a safe version.
Vegas safe. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know, I kind of rattle my head. You know, I go to lunch and I come back and I'm like, you know, we're on a tight deadline. It's not a horrible logo. It's not the best logo, but how about we present this to him? He goes, yeah, okay, let's go ahead and do that. So then, bam, we present this logo. Vegas done right. Changed the tagline a bit. I added some lines on there. I fill in the white with the prime. He loves it. Boom. Oh, this is the shit. Like, he wanted fucking Vegas big. He said, I want Vegas. Vegas. That's what he wants.
This is where we live.
Right?
Vegas.
I'm like,
Las Vegas.
well, fucking cheers to that shit.
Cheers.
All right. So, cool. All right. I get the logo approved. Awesome. Now, YouTube, what do you do now? You have the logo approved. What do you do now?
So you mentioned there's a photo shoot. Okay. Are we going to go do this photo shoot? What assets?
A potential photo shoot.
A potential. That's what I'm saying. Are we going to go do this photo shoot? What assets do we have? We have the logo now. Do we have contents?
We have about 10 photos, or we have about 10 photos from a previous photo shoot from Jersey Boys that was done by some photographer a couple months ago. And then we have show image shots of them rehearsing and doing soft openings. So we have some of those shots that could be that might be used.
Is anybody else using
for the cover.
Any of these shots?
Some of these shots have already been used. Yes.
Okay. Are we going to do this photo shoot?
So then we meet. You know, we have a weekly meeting, and the owner says, "Now we have 3 weeks to go to print." Right?
Okay.
And the owner says, "No, we're not doing a photo shoot. Use the images that we have." Cool.
Okay.
So go through the images, select my favorites, the ones that are usable, all the ones that I could use, and if it's shit, then I tell the owner, hey, these are really bad. I'm just letting you know, but out of these bad ones, this is what I'm going to select. So he's aware that we should do a photo shoot, but if he's not in the budget or if he doesn't want to do it, at least he knows that, hey, I don't have great assets to work with, but I'm going to try to do my best. Like that he knows. And then try to, you know, get down to the drawing board.
Cover blurbs. So that leads me to my next question. You know, you're doing your cover blurbs. Do we have any content written out yet? Has anybody? You know, we've been working on the logo. Have they been working on content?
Okay, so you call them cover blurbs. I know them as covered lines.
Okay,
one and the same. Cover lines are everything that goes on the cover. Your captivating caption, what other stuff is going to be inside the magazine, all that stuff. So I know it as cover lines. Sly knows it as cover blurbs.
Blurbs. I mean, I don't know if that's a technical term. It's just what I call it.
I mean, that's what you know it. You know? I mean, that's what you call it. So again, just so I said, one and the same. Yes, the editor is in this whole time working on content to fill the magazine. Okay. So
so I go and ask him, hey, what do we got? What do we got so far?
Okay. Yep. And then
what I would do is
hold on. So then the editor comes at you and he goes, okay, yeah, we have a budget, and that's what he calls basically the outline of this isn't it, but this is, for those of you who are looking, this is a sort of a budget, right? And it gives you the spread of like, hey, page 1 is the cover, page 2 and 3 are ads, page 4 and 5 are ads, or sorry, page 4 is an ad, page 5 is a table of contents. But now it's just like the dummy, but now it's actually written out of what's going to be placed there, right? And he's going to say page 6 is the masthead, page 8 will be the letter from the editor. Then we're going to go into our first story of out and about at Flamingo and blah, 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 right? So he kind of breaks it down. So like, for example, when I was looking at the very first issue, it's giving me ads. I'm not going to look through this. Going through the ads, and then it's like, okay, table of contents. Here's the masthead of who the people are. here's the editor's letter. We need to do a that's hot. That's my picks of what's hot around the city, out and about, of things that are happening around town. There's going to be hold on, let me fucking do this a little bit better. There's going to be, this is going to be a single page. This is going to be a spread. This is going to be 4 pages. This is going to be 2 pages. We're going to have an ad break. This is going to be a single page. So the editor's talking to me and giving me the dummy, and I'm like, okay, now I know kind of a little bit more rough of how this actually is going to lay out. Page 5 has this, page 10 has this, page 32 has this, page,
of course,
page whatever. Then where the map is going to land, what's going to be on the back cover, all that other stuff.
Okay. So I think my next thing would be, so we don't have any content. I need to start doing dummy stuff and start choosing fonts for the magazine. What is our look going to be? Now I'm probably going to do like a spread, or maybe like a 3-page, dummy text kind of story, and then start laying out, okay, if we're going to have body copy, what's our body copy? How big is the text? And how many words is that? Because, from my field, I know, hey, they need to know how many words can fit on that one page. If we're only getting 3 pages, they have to be able to cut that copy down if we're going to do, let's say 500 words on a 3-page spread. And then how we're going to do our photos.
I'm going to cut you off there, Sly, because you have a lot of print experience, so I'm gonna lean more on Martin right now to pick his brain on this one. Right? So
I don't have.
Hold on, fool.
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right.
Okay. So again, Martin, you are coming at it at the same level that I was coming at it, right? So that's why I'm gonna lean on you a little bit more, and Sly will chime in here and there.
Yeah, I'll chime in.
So I don't have
Sly starting at the very good point of, now I have to choose my fonts, because that was the next step that I did. I need to go, okay, shit. I need to pick a font, I need to figure out what's legible, and let's go from there. So go ahead.
So you already did the logo. Is there any copy for any of these pages yet, or just
nothing yet?
Tell you
everything's being worked on. Everything's going to be handed to you in about a week.
So my next step that I would do is I would build a wireframe of all this. I would go into InDesign and do front cover, drop in the logo because the logo is done, and then just put like an X or like a little box. My image is here, just put an image, and then the next page, whatever everything is, just wireframe. I wouldn't even go and try to like dump dummy text or anything, because from my experience, I'm working in long not magazines, but 16, 20 pages. Text is gonna change. So if you don't have copy, there's no point of you dropping in and cleaning up text or even putting in dummy copy. I would just put like image text, next, and drop in all of it in InDesign. And then I would start selecting what fonts, colors, kind of like the brand identity part of it, since you're waiting anyways, and you're gonna need a brand identity for this. And you might not have time to like fully flush out a brand identity packet for this, but at least your fonts, your colors, the look and feel. I think that would be my next step.
Okay.
I just want to say, I didn't want to interrupt Martin, but when you asked him, what are you going to do next? I was going to be like, Martin's like, well, we don't have anything. I'm going to take a week off.
We have nothing to do. I'm going to go play my game for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Hell
you guys have
bro.
something?
Hell
Come and talk to me.
No, dude, those, man. And when you're working on shit like anything more than like 10 pages is a pain in the ass, and you have to like be on top of it. You can't wait around. I know, because then the worst thing that could happen is you get everything the last day and you're working 24 hours. And I'm sure that's probably happened to you.
So then here's also the thing, right? In the back of my head, it's starting to creep of there's 100,000 copies of this being printed. And I have to do this every 2 weeks, right? I've never printed out something this big. I've never done anything that big, right? The room keys are, 5,000 at a time that we did. And that was something small. Yeah. It wasn't a complete fucking magazine of 100,000 copies
that on a people are reading basis. And scrutinizing.
The tourists are going through it, that they're gonna fucking tear apart or whatever.
Well, not only tourists, right? The other magazines in town are gonna look at your shit and gonna be like, let's see what they got.
Exactly.
Let's see where they messed up.
Where the fuck these motherfuckers are coming into our playground? Let's check them out.
And on the record here, I have no hate towards Las Vegas Magazine or the Weekly or Greenspun Media. It was kind of set that way a little bit when I was at Vegas Prime. I think there was some tension between higher heads, but designer to designer, I have no hate towards them. I think they create fucking dope ass shit. And I'll touch on that a little bit later.
We can all thrive in this economy. That's something my wife always tells me is like, even though, X, Y, and Z people have already made this product, these companies always start up, with the same thing.
Everyone started somewhere. Yep.
And the sun shines. I think what she always tells me is the sun shines on everyone. So, like, even though they've already done a magazine, you can do a magazine. The sun shines on all of us,
Exactly. So, knowing that the publisher came from Las Vegas Magazine, that's my point of reference of what he likes, right? So I ask him, what are you looking for the look and feel for this magazine? What is it that you want to show? Like, how is this text heavy? Is this artistic? Is this just like heavy Photoshop? I'm pulling teeth. He goes, "You're the art director. I just like him to look cool." Right?
Great.
I'm like, okay, give me some more. He goes, "I don't know, man. Like, you're the one designing it." So at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to Barnes and Noble and I'm looking at every fucking type of magazine. I'm looking at gamers. I'm looking at Wired. I'm looking at food, at restaurant stuff. I'm looking at guns. I'm looking at cars and auto, beauty, everything I could fucking put my hands on. I'm grabbing, I'm touching, I'm looking at how they design their columns because these guys are already successful. Before I even go in there and design anything in InDesign and lay out my shit, I'm like, I need to do my research. Research is a very fucking important thing. So know what's out there, right? It's doing that shit. So I'm literally looking at shapes. All right. So as I'm looking at all these magazines, I start sketching out my layouts, right? I'm like, oh shit, I like this kind of spread, like this could be broken in the middle with text in it. I could have an image here on the right side and here's my gutter. I could have a full color here and some copy, so I'm just doing literally thumbnails of layout grids of what I think could look cool, right? And some of it is being inspired by some of these magazines that I'm looking at. I'm like, oh, that's a cool shit. Could I make that work for Vegas Prime Magazine? I don't know how much copy we have. I have no idea what the images look like. I'm just kind of thumbnailing all this shit. So that's my next thing, right? I'm laying all that stuff out, and then I'm researching what's the most legible fonts in magazine. What are some favorite fonts that people like to read? I'm not a big reader. I read, sure, but I'm not a big reader. So I need to research that. What fonts are fun or easy to read? Am I looking at condensed fonts, extended fonts, fat fonts, short fonts? And then it's also the weight. What weight am I looking at? I'm just typing out certain stuff, and I'm like, okay, I know the size of the publication. I know, let me check my leading. Let me check my spacing. Let me check the weight that I'm going. Am I going condensed? Am I not going condensed? Do I stick with one font through the entire magazine? Do I switch it up? What fonts look great as headers? What fonts don't look great as headers? What speaks, strong? What speaks my style? What, does it match what we're talking about? It's literally just kind of shooting in the dark. I'm just kind of putting a bunch of fucking fonts and doing my research and reading all these articles online.
You got a dart and you're just like,
pretty much. I mean, I'm using all the knowledge that I've had in every other role that I've ever been in, because it's not the first time that I'm laying out copy, but it's definitely the first time that I'm laying out, that I'm doing stuff like full-on master, format, paragraph styles, character styles, all this other shit. And it's going to be hit or miss in the beginning because I still need to get copy, right? And now images and collateral is trickling in. So I set up a Trello board to track all our workflow. For those of you that don't know what Trello is, it's just like Asana. It's a work management program, free to use. We have it for our internal stuff too. I got these guys on Trello.
We are not sponsored by Trello.
Trello,
shout out to Trello. They're pretty dope.
Shout out to Trello.
Trello.
Okay. So So here's a short shout out to Trello for hooking us up at Room250 and making sure that we're organized. Trello. This episode is sponsored by Trello.
We wish.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, hashtag not sponsored. Not an ad.
Hashtag we wish.
So I put a Trello board. I add the publisher on there. I add the editor on there. I show them how to use it. I show them, hey, anything we do on here, it has a timestamp. That way, no one's lying. No one's bullshitting. Nice. I'm covering my own ass, and because that shit happens. Out of my 13 years at the time,
that, bro. Like, how many times have you guys dealt with that shit? That people are lying about the shit they're
a lot. I mean, that's just
all the time.
Goes throughout. Like any work history, people, it's in my inbox, or even just text messages too. I read it and I forgot to reply, or I didn't see my phone. Like, shut the fuck up. You saw your damn phone. Everyone has a fucking phone to their hand. All right.
For me, I'm always really honest with it. I'm like, hey, I read it and I got busy and I started doing something else and it slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
But I'm on it. Like I'm pulling my overtime because I messed up to get you your stuff when you need it. But I always
guys drinking? What the fuck, man? I'm over here chilling with Jim.
You drinking?
I'm like on the second pour. Shit.
I need to go get a beer. But
this is my second beer.
Nah, you're good. All right. Sorry. I'll slow down. I'll drink water.
I had a big pour. All right, on my Knights. Go Knights.
To the line.
Game 5 tomorrow.
Go Knights.
Go Knights. Go. Go Knights.
Go Knights. Go. Right there. Nice cup.
So I set up the Trello board so that everyone there's transparency on there. You see screenshots of things that are being laid out. You see when everyone has their swim lane. I see what the editor's working on, so then that way I know what's coming and I could get a sneak peek at what the images will be, how long the story will be. So one of the things that we ran into also, the editor has never been an editor before. This is his first time being a full-time editor. So he just knows how to write, right? So as I lay things out, it's like all of a sudden, hey bro, you gave me 600 words. That's a lot, man. Like I'm crunching font down to 8 point to make all this shit work. Yeah. Like it looks good for me, but then what's the tourist market here? Yeah, what's the tourist market here in Las Vegas? Like, what's the age range that's going to pick up our magazine? Right? Because I have to think about that shit too. There's going to be a 25-year-old that's going to pick up the magazine and read it, no problem. But there's going to be a 55-year-old that's going to pick it up and be like, what the fuck? This font's way too small. Right? So you have to think about that.
Zoom in and shit.
And this is one of the things.
They're going to pick it up and put it back down. They're exactly. Say, I can't read it, and they're going to put it right back down.
This is one of the things, too, that as an art director, you start getting out of the mindset of just like, the artwork isn't being handed to me and told what to do. Now you have to expand that knowledge, expand what you know, and just think outside of just your job. Your job is no longer just a graphic designer. It's a graphic designer and everything else that goes into it, the strategy option of it, or the strategy avenue of it, right? Again, what's your demographic, what color backgrounds is going to be on, the legibility of the font, all that shit goes into it. And running out, I did a lot of prints too to make sure that the font matches. So in the very beginning, we had a lot of issues. I'm kind of just learning how to work with my editor, figure out the font size and the leading and the spacing and the columns and everything else. And
did you feel comfortable telling him to copy?
Yes. That's one of the things that the publisher emphasized on both of us was you guys are pretty much the heartbeat of the magazine, right? You guys work together, you figure out what it is. And he told me, he goes, hey man, like I can cut copy down. You just tell me. And I go, okay, cool. Let me lay out the copy that you have first, and then we'll go from there. Because I'm discovering how I want to lay this shit out first. Because again, I have no idea. I have no idea what the look and feel of this magazine is going to be. Because when you think of like heavy metal, you know what that's going to look like. When you think of Wired, you know what that's going to look like. GQ, Playboy, the New Yorker, all that other shit. You know how that look and feel. And I'm like, I don't know what this look and feel is going to be, right? So I'm literally fucking just looking at every competitor. I'm like, okay, how do I make this different than theirs, but still in my style? Now we have the logo done. I have to think about the magazine layout, the font choice, setting up the workflow, and then the map, right? We have to do a map. I'm like, shit, I don't have time for the map. And then we figure out the magazine first, then I'll think of the map, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking hard, bro.
All right, so I'm like, okay, fucking hard. So now we have, a little bit over 2.5 weeks left before we go to print. And then I'm also setting up with the printer. I'm talking to the printer. When does it need to be uploaded? How it's going to be uploaded? How their settings are on exporting a PDF for their shit. How the approval process goes. How our internal process goes. How are we going to edit this? How's it going to be approved and fixed and all the other shit. Mm-hmm. So we're going back and forth on all that other stuff. And again, now stories are starting to come in. I'm starting to lay all that shit out. But first, since I had time to work on the cover, I went ahead and the cover was the very first thing that I was able to knock out. And this is... of
course, you go for the fun shit first.
Oh, of course. Well, that's what I had.
That's the funnest thing you're going to do. The logo and the cover.
Why is this not loading correctly? 1 second here.
Were you hella excited to jump on that? Like hella quick, huh?
Well, I went.
You gotta savor it. You gotta leave it for last.
Yes, I was excited, but I was nervous.
Make that shit first.
Hold on, let me see. I was nervous.
The cover's always like the funnest thing to work on any type of like magazine or
for sure
program.
For sure. But I mean, if you're already set in it, you want to lay out your content first, so then you can kind of dictate what you're going to put on the cover. At least that's how we work sometimes at the RJ. We don't get the cover until we've already laid out most of the magazine, and then we'll get the cover.
Yeah, but doesn't the magazine just have the same look and feel every time once it's set? And the only thing that really changes is the cover, depends. Right?
For our magazine, I would say yes and no. Yeah, when it's established.
Yeah, when it's established.
But for Pete, I would say, you guys were changing your content all the time. Like, we kind of have like a theme. Okay, we're going to do this one for this issue, this one for this issue, this one for this issue. And we kind of do those 4 themes each year. For Pete, I'm sure it was changing like every, bi-weekly. Yeah. You guys were like, okay, we're going to do this new thing. We're going to do this other thing. And so you're constantly kind of evolving it.
Yeah. So, okay. So again, no, I joined the team in March, and the first, maybe it was 6 weeks when we had it out, 3 weeks. The first issue rolled out May 5th. I remember that. Okay. Because I'm looking at the spine right now. So 2 weeks ahead before that would be whatever date that was. And that was when we had to send the shit to print. And I got hired on towards the end of March. So we'll say within 5 weeks, I had to create all this other shit. So again, yeah, you're right. The cover, I worked on the cover first because that's what I had assets on. And I had all this idea and I was looking at a bunch of shit and I found an image that I liked, but it was shot on a black background. And I'm like, fuck, I don't like that. That's not the look that I want to go for. So I had to cut out all the people and I went for an action shot. This was the first cover for Vegas Prime magazine that I went with, right? So these guys were against a black background. So I had to go in there and cut them out, lay out the logo. And then same thing too, have fun with the font. Like, do I interlace it? Do I just slap it on top? That's one of the things that I wanted to make him just a little bit different than what everyone else had him. Las Vegas Magazine just slaps the text on top. I'm like, well, I'm getting creative freedom, then have some fucking, like, don't disappoint. If one thing that I learned from one of our art teachers at AI, he was a fine artist, Kevin Anderson. Shout out Kevin Anderson. He's like, if someone gives you the honor of going in for a closer look to your artwork, don't disappoint them. And that's one thing that I always try to do, like a little hidden texture or a little hidden pattern or something that was different. And that's how I felt with this, like interlace the photograph with the typography just a bit to play around with it, have some fun with it. So this was the cover that I created and I was like, sweet, like that's fun. I like it. This is going in the right direction. I showed it off to my publisher and he's like, boom, I love it. Like, let's run with that. But then I get a call saying, or an email saying, hey, Vital Vegas used that image for their cover last month. Ooh. And I'm like, fuck. Right?
That's okay. See, that's the thing with getting assets provided instead of building a photo shoot. Did somebody already use this photo?
Exactly. So in the media, in the media sector, for those of you that don't know or never worked in a magazine, when you work in a tourist publication or magazine like this, everyone gets the same assets. When it comes to shows, when it comes to media buys, everyone gets all. Las Vegas Magazine, Weekly, myself, Vital Vegas, all get the same assets. So it's like, how do you make that shit different than your competition, right? So I'm like, fuck, man, like they have the same cover. What am I gonna do? And I'm looking at all the other images. Unfortunately, oh wait, I think I do have them. I'm looking at all the other images. I'm just like, shit, man. Like, how can I make something different? Now, let me see if I have it. Yeah, I have it.
What would you do, Martin, while Pete's looking this up? So you use the image, right? And then all of a sudden, somebody's already used it. What are you gonna do now?
Well, the first thing to do is to go back to the library and look at other images that might work.
Real quick, hold on. Here's the original shot right here that I cut out. Right, so this is what was handed to me. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, that looks like fun. I don't like that background. It looks like they're superimposed on that background, but the photographer just used a flash, a big flash. And that's, I'm like, but I could cut them out. It's going to take some time, but I could cut them out.
Right.
They had two different leads and they did the same shot, but I thought the guy looked too animated. So I didn't want to go with that shot, but this is the other version of it. The guy in the middle looks just too weird. Looks like a frog or something. So I didn't want to go with that one. And then homeboy here, his arm looks a little weird and funky. So that's why I didn't go with that one. But so I'm looking at
it's just fun and playful.
Yeah. So I'm looking at all these other assets here of what I have available to me. Let me just share my entire screen. Let's go with that one right there. All right, so I'm looking like I have this one. I'm like, that's not a fucking, because the cover is like this, so I need to shrink it. I can't have all four in something like this, right? So it can't be that
it's
image,
not gonna work,
right? And then it can't be this image, right? So I'm getting this image right here. I'm like, that's not gonna work either, right? So then I'm like looking at all these other images here that are sent to me, right? That can't work. That can't work, right? I'm looking at all these. So this is something that was handed to me, right? I'm like, okay, which ones of these can be the cover for the magazine? For the very first one, right? These are all the
Imagine
all the
if
shots.
you use the girls.
Right?
Imagine if you use the girls for the boys are back.
Right, so I'm like, shit. So then I find out, right? Then I find out that this image right here is what Vital Vegas used for their cover. Whew. Okay. Safe. Different, right?
Okay.
Like, someone had a copy of it. I couldn't find it online, and someone had a copy of it. Boom. And Vital Vegas is a very they're very known here in town. It's a very small publication, but they use that image. So I'm like, sweet. I don't have to recreate my cover now. Well, I've been sweating this shit out. So okay, cover's done. Waiting for copy to come in. What else are you doing in this time frame? Like, what, Martin? What else would you be doing? What would be your next steps?
Well, you did the cover.
You already have the cover done. You already have the logo done. You're waiting on the map because you're not sure. You have no fucking idea what you want to do with the map.
I would check in with everybody and see, do you have my assets yet? Do you have my copy? And if there's anything that I could use to lay out in the magazine, then I would lay everything that I can in the magazine.
So copy starting to come in. All right, so copy starting to come in.
You're not thinking about ads. You're asking about
copy. No, it doesn't matter because I already did. It doesn't matter because I already did the wireframe for it, remember? And in my wireframe... Wait.
Okay, you have the wireframe.
Wait, slow down, motherfucker. In my wireframe, I have all my ad sections. Ads are literally drop and drop.
Are they the right size?
Why am I going to waste...
Are they the right size?
Well, hold on. Let me interject. Right? So from the publisher, he said the ads will be the last thing that we place. Right? The ads are still coming in. Those are going to be print ready. All right? We're going to check them. But our due date for the ads is 3 days before we go to print. That's our due date for the ads. Right?
Yeah. So from my experience,
not sure which ads are going to be, but some of them are from our internal house, from our sister companies. So we know that their shit's going to be scored away because the designer is 50 feet away from me, and I could go to her and say, hey, fix this ad, or you know what the spec ads
Boom,
are.
there you go.
Yeah, on that part. But the other ones, remember, this is also a brand new magazine, so we're not going to have a lot of people to advertise in the very beginning. So at the time, per our dummy and per our budget, it says, we have, actually, I'll tell you right now how many ads we had on the first one.
I'm just saying, Martin, while you're looking that up.
No, I wouldn't be worried.
Ads, You're not worried, but I have to do this. No, but I would say 50-50 ads come in completely wrong, and we have to reach back out to them and say, hey, can you fix this? Because this is, is this supposed to bleed? Is it not supposed to bleed? UNLV Performing Arts designs their ads in the way that they want some of their copy to be cut off. And, when I see that, I'm like, hey, this is bleeding off the edge. I don't know if they want to do that. I have to then kick it back.
Right.
Hey, do they want to do that? Do they not want to do that? Am I going to fix this? Are they going to be able to fix it in time? Especially with the 3-day
ads
turnaround.
18
ads compared to 70.
Ads.
Wow, that's
18 ads out of 68 pages.
Still, though, I would be more worried about laying out all my stuff, and that would always leave. I always left the ads for the end, but you're saying something different, Sly. You're working with these companies, or a bunch of random companies that sounds like they mess up a lot. And
that would be the same thing with what Pete's talking about.
Yeah, but when I used to get ads for programs, they would mess up, but I would just fix it myself because they were just minor stuff, like they didn't size it properly, and we did send out the specs, so they should have sized it properly, but it was usually off a little bit, so generative fill or expand the background and make it fit, kind of a thing. But I would be more worried about
that makes sense. Yeah, but let's say you made a change, and then the client said, "Hey, I didn't want it like that. I actually wanted it the way I did it."
You don't have the way Pete was running with this, you don't have time to go back and say yo, but Pete's in a different situation. He had the person right there 50 feet away, so he has the luxury for sure.
to let me interject.
Be yo, fix this real quick.
Let me interject. So we didn't offer any ad design services at the very beginning. The ads had to be print ready, spec ready, page ready for us to place in. Now, also, the other thing that you were doing while you were doing everything else that I forgot about was you were designing a media kit, right? You had to design a media kit so the salespeople had something to show to go get ads for the magazine that wasn't even published yet, right? So you're working on the logo, the layout of the magazine, the media kit, the workflow, internal stuff, and the map. So now you have 5 big fucking things, and your media kit's about 10 pages, right? So again, that's a lot.
I think I would pivot to the media kit first because the map is going to be fucking hard. And I know that I could get the media kit done faster because the media kit is literally mostly copy, right? And a couple images.
Pete? Yeah, let me pull it up here. Yes, I mean he had.
So to me, I think that media kit, it's 10 pages, but you'd probably be able to knock it out 2-3 hours, maybe 2 hours. Pete time, maybe an hour.
No,
what about Martin time?
Martin time would be 20 hours.
Okay, we'll get 20. Wait.
I'll give it to you next year, bruh. Next year. Just do it yourself.
The next issue.
I'm trying to find.
You don't need to advertise. Get the fuck out of here.
Where is the media kit? Oh shit! Did I not take it with me? No, I thought I did. Hold on, one second. I'm looking for it.
Okay.
So cover templates, highlight mobile boards, fix prime time.
Okay, so you knock out the media kit.
Anyways, yeah. So I'll knock out the media kit, and now, again, we're going through the dummy. I'm going through the editor. All the copy is in, or is 50% of the copy is already trickled in. Right, we'll say that. Okay. 50% of the copy is already trickled in. We're 3 weeks out, and you have a conversation with your editor, and he goes, "Okay, so the way it's gonna go, the way that I'm thinking the magazine should lay out is," and you go through the dummy. You go, "Okay, here we have our page 1 is our cover. Page 2 through 4 is gonna be ads, right? So whether it's a single or it spreads, we're gonna have ads. Then we're gonna have the table of contents on the left-hand side with an ad on the right-hand side. Then it's be followed by the masthead with a half a page ad, followed by the letter from the publisher. Then we have ad on the left-hand side, followed by a letter from the editor. Then a 2-page ad. And then we're going to have a section that's called That's Hot. And that's where, and this is me pretending that I'm the editor. That's where I give you my top 6 things to do around the city that are hot. That's whether it's restaurants or shows or whatever it might be. These are my picks. This is a 2-page feature highlighting my picks to do around the city, my things that I think you should go do while you're here visiting in the next 2 weeks. Then it's followed by 4 pages of it's called Out and About section. And what this is highlighting what events are happening within those 2 weeks, whether it's a restaurant opening, whether it's someone being honored at the Nevada Ballet Theater, or a grand opening. It highlights that, followed by we call it Celebrity Takeover, where a local celebrity is going to give us an article, and that's going to be a 2-page spread feature, followed by our section called Showtime. That would be highlighting acts around town, who's performing. Followed by our feature well, which would be highlighting the Jersey Boys, which will be a 4-page feature. That's 800 words. Followed by another 2-page feature called Terrific 10, which is the Smith Center. What they're going to be highlighting, their shows, followed by 2 of our big shows, the MJ Live and Purple Rain, followed by a Mother's Day special of what restaurants are doing that week for Mother's Day, followed by other shows and more layouts, right? So what's your brain doing at this time frame, right? And again, you have the copy, you're looking at these assets, but you haven't laid out anything yet, right? You kind of have a font that you want to pick, that you want to roll. You have a few fonts. What are you doing now?
I'm picking the biggest story, and I'm laying that out.
Okay.
That I have.
Walk me through it. Again, now, remember, you have you've never done this before. You're designing the look and feel. Like, what is it that you're pulling from? Like, how do you get to that look and feel process or progress? Or
okay. So we already have the cover, right? Uh-huh. So I want to pull an element from the logo. I'm probably going to pull some of those little lines. So that way that accentuates some of the stuff that we have on the page. I'm going to pull whatever, you said you picked some fonts. I'm going to start throwing some of those fonts on there. I'm going to lay out all the copy. I'm just going to throw all the copy on the page first. I'm going to see how much space it actually takes up. I'm going to see what assets do we have? How many photos do we have? If we have any photos, do any of those work as like a hero image? What's the title? Basically, what I do when I start on it, I throw everything on that page, and I want to see how much space I can actually take up, how much the copy is going to be there, and then I start basically problem solving, almost like I would say like a Rubik's Cube or like a puzzle. I'm trying to fit these pieces in here, and then what I typically do now, and maybe this isn't something that I would do when I started, but now that I know, I would lay out the copy at whatever font that I'm thinking. Like, let's say it's 10 point. Lay it out at 10 point. If there's copy overflowing, I'm just going to put that off to the side of the page. And then I'm going to try and finagle to try and get it on there without looking too bad. But if I can't, then I'm just going to send that back to the copywriter or the publisher or the editor and say, hey, this is the copy that's off the page. Can you cut this? Can you work this in to be able to fit everything on the page? That's my process. But again, like you said, Pete, I have experience in this now, so I kind of know what I'm doing. But if I wasn't that experienced, I probably wouldn't know to do the copy like that. Maybe I might start messing with the type and say, oh, well, 10 points doesn't fit. Maybe I'll do 9 point, or try to keep it within a specific parameter.
Yeah, see, I probably wouldn't. When I did it on programs, I didn't have the luxury to go back and say, cut this copy down. So what I would do is take all my copy in for whatever section I'm on, my spreads, and read the copy a little bit, what it's about, and then find images. Try to find a couple images, because when people are reading, we're lazy, bro. We want to have breaks, or we want to look at images, or we want to be entertained a little bit. And then my hierarchy, right? I'm going to drop in my copy. I'm going to give it some hierarchy. Am I gonna use all uppercase for titles or for important sections? Am I gonna do call outs? Anything that's important that I need to call out, maybe do a call out. Lay in my copy first. I won't even bring the images in. I'll just drop in placeholders for the images because I feel like the copy play is more important than your images. And if I have room for images and I can make my text smaller to make the images a little bit bigger, then I'll go ahead and do that. But I think that's how I would tackle that.
Yeah, but remember, as the art director, and your publication is small. Your focus should be image heavy first. Yeah. You don't have a full size publication of something like, this where it's an 8.5 by 11. You have a digest size, so you need to be focused on imagery.
Oh, because you're smaller.
We're not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're smaller. We're not a novel. So that's where you communicate with your editor of like, hey, we need to trim down. And as I worked on, I created 22 magazines. As I developed,
damn, you did 22, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As I developed these magazines, every single issue. So the art department was just me. It was just me for quite some time now. In the very beginning, I was told, hey, you have a budget of $800 per issue to freelance artwork out, right? To freelance however many pages that would fit for $800, right? Depending on who my artist was. It's to me, it was a trade value of like, hey, I can't pay you that much, but I could pay you for less than 300 words, and you're getting creative freedom on the design aspect of it. That's where I think the compromise came in. So I had a designer that I reached out to eventually, and she agreed on that price because of how much fun it was. Like that to me, the price that I gave and the flexibility and creativity that I allowed
to flex those muscles.
It's a pay. Like, yeah, okay, it's not a lot of money, but if I'm doing 5 spreads, I get all the money, and I'm doing this shit for fun. Like, it's really fun for 300 words. It's not a lot. So I developed each section. Now, again, it's just me. So I have 3 weeks to get to print. I need to design the entire magazine. Each section has to look different, but it needs to flow nicely. And I have to worry about the column width, my leading, my spacing, legibility, all this other shit, the kind of paper it's going to be printed on, how everything lays out, right? So I'm just like the flow of it. Does it flow nicely? Does it not flow nicely? Are the images high quality enough? Are they not high quality enough? So running into that. But the biggest issue, again, that, you guys are right on laying out copy and how it goes. It's the thing that I ran into. It's, again, what the fuck does this look like? Like, what does this look like? Yeah. Right? So how do you solve that issue? While I go get a beer real quick, I'm going to shut my camera off and I'll be back. Like, how do you solve that issue? Like, how would you guys have handled that? Okay, you have all your copy. You have 60% of your stories in. You have them in. Mm-hmm. Your inspiration is Las Vegas Magazine. Your competition is Las Vegas Magazine, The Weekly, Vital Vegas, and every other publication that's in town, and every publication that's not in Las Vegas. How do you start laying out the grid of this? You know how your copy is going to look. You know how to treat copy in headlines and bylines and page numbers and your folios. Like, how do you start putting that Rubik's Cube together then? Like, bring me through your creative process. You want to go first? That. Yeah, let's go with Martin. I'm gonna go get a refill while I listen to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's like you can go after that.
Scheduled break for Pete.
It's a brand new magazine. I'm trying to find the look and feel for it. I kind of have an idea. I would lay my stuff out. I think I would lay everything out first that I have. And then once I feel like, okay, cool, everything's in, all my copies in, then I would go back and then analyze each section and then determine whether I'm happy with it or not. And if I run into a problem where I'm like, oh shit, this is not working for me, then what do we do when we get lost, right? We go back and we do research, we get inspiration, we look at other stuff. What Pete said earlier, like he looked at a bunch of magazines, right? I'm assuming he already probably took pictures or, saved them somewhere. Like before I would have even started, I probably would have gone on Pinterest and created a board specifically just for this magazine, for this company, and drop in all the ideas. And then what I usually do is when I get stuck, I'll go and I look through that and try to get some inspiration. If that doesn't work, if I get blocked, then I go for a walk or try to break off the mold and then go back and jump on it. That's what I would do. How about you, Sly?
Well, I'd pick my fonts, right? So I'd pick my header font, I'd pick my subtext, my captions, my call outs, and my body text, right? I would create probably a paragraph style or a character style, probably both, layer those into each other. And then I would start laying out different sections. So I'd lay out one section, and I'd print it out, and I'd pin it on a board. I'd put it up because I want to see everything together. Because if something's off,
you don't have access to a board,
or I'd tape it to the wall. I mean, I'm gonna put it up on a wall.
You have a cubicle. You have no wall.
I'm gonna tape it on. I'm gonna put it on the floor. I'm gonna look at it all together.
Pinterest, pen board.
No, I'm not gonna look at it digitally. I want to look at it physically to be able to go up and come back. I can go up and look and see something, and I can come back and be like, okay, maybe this doesn't really flow with this. But so in doing all of that preparation work with the paragraph styles and the character styles, let's say, it works for one spread, but it's not working for every other one. If I need to, then I can just go in and change that to what's my next font that I'm going to use. Maybe I can change all of the headlines to this one. Or if we're, changing the body copy, you can easily change that with one click through paragraph styles and or character styles. So that's the direction that I would go.
Okay.
But again, for Pete, I mean, this is you starting brand new. I have experience starting with stuff that's already kind of set in motion, and we've kind of elaborated on it. So it's been a little bit easier to do this sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, again, now having that experience, you could definitely jump into a publication design and know what you're doing, right? I'm coming at it from, hey, I've never ever done this before, and I know I can do it. I know I could do it, and I'm on YouTube looking at fucking tutorials and inspiration. What are people doing? What's trending? What I always wanted to do for a magazine, like, okay, if I was in charge, this is what I would do. And well, now I'm in charge, so can I actually fucking do what I want to do? So, I start just fucking playing around with different layouts and different fonts, and so let me walk you through first issue of Vegas Prime magazine.
First issue.
All right, so we have our cover, and then these are the ads. The ads were placed at the very end, so they came in print ready, good to go.
I told you, Sly.
Right, so I have
Did any of them come in wrong?
No, none of them. I only got one ad wrong the entire year that I was there. Okay. So I made my media kit on point, and I would check the ads here, but they almost all came on the right thing. I think maybe two of them were off by like an eighth of an inch, and I just made it bigger, and then bam, it was done. So whatever, I printed out fine. So I start, with the table of contents, just kind of like playing with the fonts that I want and laying it out. I'm like, I only have one page to lay out, and I am supposed to highlight all these things. At what point does it get too big? Does it get too small? I want to highlight the graphic because, again, I'm getting my inspiration from Las Vegas Magazine. Hey, they kind of do this thing, so I'm going to mimic that just a little bit, right? Get inspired by that. Develop the folio. The VegasPrime.com, the date that it's issued. Do I run with the date? Do I not run with the date? Do I space that out? Do I not space that out? What does the publisher letter look like? That's pretty basic. And every magazine that you look at, it's one thick column and the person's headshot. In one way or another, either it's small or it's huge. Maybe some textures, but this is pretty traditional look and feel. So I ran with that. Yeah. Same thing with the masthead. Pretty traditional look and feel, so I went with that. Certain things, the wheel, no need to reinvent the wheel, so I just kind of ran with it because, again, I'm a department of one, and this thing is due in 3 weeks now, 2.5 weeks. And I still have the map to lay out, and it still needs to be reviewed, and I have to lay everything else out. So I just need to fucking start at it. Just start chipping away and come back and fix later. So again, I lay out the editor's letter again, very, very basic. Lay the ads out. Now this is again the that's hot section, right? What does that look like? I don't know, man. Like these are different sizes of pictures. These are cool images. These are blown out images. These are shorter. Like what do I highlight? Justin Timberlake. That's his main photo that he wants to use. That's the one that I have to use all across the board, every single time. Like nothing to do about it. It just gets cropped off there. That's it. So how do I work that into that shit? Does the font look cool? Is there any like floating elements that I could add to it? Because when when I was laying this out, and then let's see, where is it? It's okay. If I take out the little element, it's just too plain, right? Like okay, so I need to add all these little tchotchkes and arrows and dots and shit to kind of pull it in together. I like that look and feel when I first was laying this shit out. So I wanted to implement that around the entire publication. When it came to this section, the out and about, again, we wanted to be super photo heavy on it. So how do the columns read? How do those lay out? Do I break words? Do I have hard returns? Do I have soft returns? Do I break words or have line breaks or no line breaks? And then we're taught don't leave widows or orphans. And it's hard sometimes because in your column, setting, you're like, oh shit. Well, if I break this here, then all this fucking shit shifts, and then your fucking copy looks all fucking choppy. And like, fuck it, I'll come back to it, whatever. So I started laying out all these things. I'm like, okay, do I highlight this? This is just a single page, and you could tell how much copy was done in the very first issue, right? That's a lot of copy, right? This is the celebrity takeover. How do we do this one? The seam right in the middle. We have Shania Twain, right? Like preferred images. I used AI to extend that graphic because that image was like cut super short. So I just kind of start laying things out. And I know there's certain things, like looking at it now, I'm like, man, this was definitely like amateur hour. I just I did it, but it was definitely
you did what you needed.
That I needed to tweak. There's certain things that I liked. I'm like, this format looks cool. Okay, I'll make it work. Adding bylines. I haven't really done bylines in fucking forever. So that was a thing to remember. Do I justify it? Do I left justify it? I don't know. Photo pages, big stories. How the fuck do I do that? When it still reads well, can it read well? It still needs to be
dynamic. So you still use the photo?
I used it for the inside, not for the cover. Yeah. Right? For the inside, it made different because there was 2 leads. So I wanted to cover both leads, right? The guys right here, the 2 actors. So again, like, how do I highlight them? What do I do? How does a interview read on paper? What do I call out? What I saw in other reference magazines, you see the name was bold or italicized or some kind of call out to show that it was a different person talking. Do I use color backgrounds, textures? All the, you can tell it's very, very copy heavy. And it was a lot, like, does it work on white? Yeah. Does it not work on white? Like I illustrated this one right here and this one right here because the images that were given to me were not the best, right? So it's just like, okay, highlighting all this stuff. I just kind of took it one section at a time. I created each one as its own little look and feel. And if it was a continuous section, then I just kind of try to copy that same look and feel throughout the rest of the magazine. Right. So like, again, like this attraction, very, very open space, but a lot of fucking text. And that's one thing that as I developed the magazine more and more, I realized, okay, we need to reduce text. Now, for example, this one, I added these little blue dots on the background because they just seemed too plain on white background. And when it printed, you couldn't even see the fucking blue dots. So I'm like, okay, one thing to remember, I need to work on my opacity.
20% at least.
Right? All this shit. Like little mistakes that I made internally that I knew that I needed to fix for the next issue, but no one else saw them. Right? They're like, oh, I didn't even know that there was fucking circles back there. I'm like, well, that was kind of the point, right? The highlight of issue 1, that's my puppy right there. Right? So that was
he was hella fit back then, bro.
Hey, my dog's more fit than your dog.
My dog ain't fat, bro.
It don't matter. It don't matter. don't matter. My dog will take your dog down in a heartbeat.
Bro, my dog loves your dog. He ain't gonna let him. He's gonna be happy if he takes him
There's
down.
no hate. There's no hate.
My dog's gay for your dog, bro. You know that.
But the one cool thing about being an art director and managing a magazine, you get to do little things, here and there, and insert your friends or cool photos. And this feature was called Brewing News. Neon Desert Brewing. You could print your own picture on a beer can, and the images that were given to me.
That's cool.
Were on off a cell phone photo, and they were really crappy. The person who took the photos, now he did a lot better job towards the end, but in the very beginning, it was just kind of like, I'll take a shot, and like, here, they should go to print. It was blurry, it was fucking small, it was cropped out, it was horrible. I could not work with it. So as an art director, you have to come up with a solution. What looks best? What can I do to fix it?
Have a backup.
So I said, fuck it. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use my dog on a beer can. I'm going to mock him up, and I'm going to run with it. And yeah, fucking no. Who's going to approve it? Me. I'm going to approve it because I said this fucking looks dope. So I ran with that. So I'm laying shit out. I lay out the spot, heavy photos, using little elements, using different fonts. Because I knew as I laid things out, I went with one font in the very beginning. Excuse me.
Okay.
I went with one font throughout the entire thing, the entire publication. And when I was laying things out, I go, well, this font here, which is Minion, I think it was. Yeah, Minion, doesn't match the vibe for the spa. Right. Yep. So I needed to change that font out, and as I just kind of explored and I developed the magazine, I'm like, I feel I want like 2 or 3 different fonts on this magazine while I figure the look and feel for it. Right. But it was also, I went with Minion in the very beginning with a lot of it because of how much copy was given to me. Right. For this one, I went with Bebas. How do you say that? Bebas?
Bebas?
You call that
Bebas?
Bebas.
Right?
Bebas.
But I also had fun with like the headers. With the headers, I'm like, hey, I like this font style. It's called Lust Script. Like, I think that's a really cool one for headlines.
It's a great one.
I liked how this one's called Trump Gothic. I like how tall it is. Like that's a nice call out, and it's just like clean looking. So I wanted to have that for certain call outs. So no, you just playing around with typography. Typography is a very strong suit of mine. So I wanted to play with that also, not just the style of it, but just, the type throughout the magazine. So yeah, went through that in the very first issue. I'm just looking at it now. I'm like, damn, like that was a shit ton of fucking work just trying to figure this shit out. But again, it was just that issue of like, how does this look? Like, I have no idea how this lays out. Like, how do I make this full page? When I make this full page, do I add?
And what did your publisher say at the end? Publisher / editor. They loved
it. Yeah, he liked it. He liked the direction. There was a few layouts that I showed him because he gave me creative freedom, but he gave me space too. He wasn't on my ass. Hey, let me see something. Let me see something. He just said, I've seen your portfolio. I read your resume. I hired you for a reason. Do your job, right? And I took that to heart, and I was at home fucking, again, looking at YouTube videos, looking at every single publication, and relying on my skill set that I had developed throughout these years, and really like trusting myself and like, okay, this will look dope like this. I am the art director. I'm making the fucking call. I'm defending my decision because I know this shit looks fucking dope. Martin, are you frozen or are you just not blinking?
No. Oh no! I'm paying attention to what you're saying, motherfucker. I'm taking it to my heart.
Because you weren't blinking. I was like, did you just freeze? Hold on to me. My throat's dry.
It's just
I'm listening, bro. I'm listening. I'm like,
okay, you just weren't blinking. Damn. That's why you're like, this is you.
Sorry. I'm focused. I'm hyper focused on you, homie.
So yeah, I mean, I'm in the art director role. I know my shit. I'm confident in what I'm doing, so I'm gonna present something badass. You gave me creative freedom. I'm not gonna fucking let you down. I'm gonna create some fucking dope shit. So some of the stuff that I showed him at first, he was like, "Oh, like I don't know about this," and that's where I came the conversation of like, okay, the only reason I laid this out was to show you, the publisher, and show you, the editor, that we need to reduce copy, right? Before I bump heads with you or just say, "Hey, this is not going to work," and you don't, we're learning how to work with each other. I'm physically showing you. This is all your copy,
your shit
and it all fits. But this is now at 7.5 points, which is not legible, right? Yeah, you could read it if you're 25, if you're under 35, but if you're over 40, you might have a little bit of a problem. And guess what? That's some of our fucking demographic, right? That they can't see it.
Yeah,
I can't go too big because I also don't want to read like an old man and be reading 10.5 point on a magazine because it doesn't work if the magazine is fucking super small. Right, so we have to.
Did you run it by Martin first?
Yeah, I know. For us, bro. But like for our viewers, Pete did something very, very, very important here. He didn't step on his publisher's toes.
Mm-hmm.
He
worked with the team.
He kind of, a lot of designers would probably be like, "Oh, I'm wasting my time doing this step," but that step is so important. Because by him doing that and bringing it to him and showing him, hey, here's what the magazine is going to look like with all your copy. And he himself was like, ugh. So you're making him realize that like, oh shit, I need to reduce my copy versus just being like, reduce the copy and not showing him anything. So if you think about it, yeah, it took an extra step for Pete to lay all that out and it probably took him like an hour or two. And you might think it's a waste of time, but it kind of isn't when you're working with another human being because that's when you're building that relationship. Mm-hmm. So now his editor or whatever is going to be like, I trust him because if he's going to tell me next time you need to reduce the text, I trust him because I saw it. Versus him being like, oh, this guy's just being lazy. Yeah.
Like we want to see, okay, you're telling me it doesn't fit, but showing him visually, hey, this is why it doesn't fit. Is easier to explain. Like they can see it for themselves,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And then it reduces tension in the workplace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're giving them the option to say, hey, this is actually, you're right. This is actually too much copy instead of being hey, you have too much copy. Oh yeah. I have too much copy.
Now Pete's word is worth a lot more because he's like, oh shit, yeah, last time he showed me and he was right. So I'm going to take, next time he asks for that, he's going to be more, he's like, yeah, sure.
More receptive.
Anyways, carry on.
Exactly. Yeah. So, that's some of the challenges when you work with a new team. You have to learn how to work with each other. It's we're all for the same cause and wanting to be successful. Excuse me. And that's what I wanted to show. I wanted to show that, hey, we can, this shit doesn't look right because of X, Y, and Z. And again, through my experience, throughout my career, I've done that. I've learned that from, people before me that were in higher positions, also that are previous art directors and senior designers. And I learned from them. I learned their good habits and their bad habits and what I wanted to implement for myself that I could see that was a better way to work,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I start laying out the magazine, lay everything out, and I get to a really good fucking spot, and the entire magazine is almost there, right? Boom. It's there. It feels good. I need to go back. I need to edit shit. And then I remember, fuck, I have the map due also. I need to do the map. Okay? I need to. Now, I had time, in this time frame, I had time to reach out to quite a few people. I reached out to on my LinkedIn, I posted on my Instagram, on my Facebook. And the reason I also took my time with the map was because I didn't know what the fuck the map was going to look like. I couldn't give someone, I couldn't hire a freelancer and say, hey, make me a map of the strip without having any kind of fucking direction besides, don't make it look like this one. Yes. That was literally the direction that I had.
This is the only direction. Don't do this.
Exactly. And it's like, well, fuck. Like, what am I going to do? Right? Like, what am I going to do? Now, I think I had maybe, I don't remember. I want to say like a week on this map. Well, I mean, from the day that I got hired, I was told about the map. but I didn't really concept anything. And I'm trying to see if I have all the old concepts on here. But I'm like, okay, I need to develop something, and I'm just Googling all kinds of shit, man. I'm like, Vegas map, what does that look like? Let's see this one right here. Isn't this one? Yeah. What's out there, and I'm just kind of rattling my head. I'm like, okay, do I illustrate something? Do I need to highlight from the very fucking bottom of the strip all the way up to the stratosphere?
Downtown?
Like what?
Downtown.
Yeah, I got a part of downtown too. Like what properties are going to be on there? It's just, it was fucking it was a lot. So, how
many properties on the strip do we have? Shit, bro.
So there's many, many more other versions, and I'll find this on another part of the episode. But I smoked a bowl. I love cannabis when it comes to trying to come up with creative ideas. Sativas for me are the shit. And
it's legal in the state of Nevada.
Correct. It is legal in the state of Nevada. And so I'm talking to my wife, and then I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, I need to develop this look and feel. So we're watching our show, and I'm massaging her legs, I'm massaging her arms, but
it's not this type of podcast, okay?
my body. I don't know how you guys are, but when I'm creative, my brain is solving the puzzle throughout the night and throughout the day, right? So I'm there
giving you ideas.
I'm physically there, like doing what I need to do, but subconsciously my brain is locked away somewhere else, and it's fucking running. It's running fucking data back here, just going. And I'm like massaging her, and I'm paying attention to the show, blah, blah, blah.
Like, ooh,
and all of a sudden, all of a sudden I go, hold on, I'll be right back. And she goes, what? I go, I have to go write something down. I'll be right back. So I think, I want to say before I got to where I'm going to show you, this was the first version. I had created, I think like 4 different other maps. And I should have been ready before the podcast here, but it was just miss after miss. I'm like, this looks cool. And then you start laying it out. I'm like, this doesn't look cool. And I'm like, this could fucking be cool. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't fucking cool. This is not it either. It's just, it was a fucking pain in the ass. Because again, how do I create something that a lot of people are going to fucking use as a reference that is usable from within the ages of 21 to 65? Within 2 weeks. That's recognizable, that's functional, that is, that doesn't look like shit. Okay, so I can't find the actual original one, but I'll show you the version that I came up with. So I went through different, like I said, and I'll find it and I'll share it on our Instagram whenever I have it.
Okay.
But here is the final version of the first run that I did. All right? So this was the first map of the first issue that I ran with. I kind of went like a mixture of a subway map with just the bubbles of the properties of the logos, right?
Okay.
Man, you don't realize how much there is until you see all these little bubbles.
Exactly, because at first I was like, hey, at first it was kind of like a subway map, and it was just in color coordinations, and it was just the bubbles. But after I laid it out, I'm like, this looks fucking shit. And I was trying to convince myself that it looked cool. I was like, no, it works, man. It works. And I'm like, nah, it fucking doesn't work, bro. It does not fucking work.
All the different logos, there's like so many different.
Yeah, it's so busy.
Right. So, it's busy. But again, I had fucking 2 weeks to crank this shit out. Plus the magazine.
I know.
Plus
That's
the
what I told you.
Bitch,
I told you the first thing was the map. I told you literally when we started talking about this shit that the map was going to be the hardest.
Right? So I'm trying to get all these fucking property logos. I'm on fucking every website, and we're reaching out to properties so I can get their logo. They're not giving me their logos. They don't know who the fuck we are. They don't want to work with us. So I'm like going on, Brands of the World. I'm going on websites. This is when I text you guys. I'm like, I love when websites have SVG files on their website, so I can just drag that bitch into Illustrator and boom, I have a fucking vector fucking file, right? So I love that. Thank you, Bellagio. Thank you, Rio. Thank you, Caesars.
Mandalay Bay.
But also, here's a little, I guess, insider trick or knowledge I would share. Everywhere you work, for you designers, everywhere that you work, they should have a server. In that server, they should have all the assets of clients they work with or properties they work with. Copy those fucking files. Copy those logos copy their logo vault. Copy their their assets over to your hard drive, because it's in case their server ever breaks. But also when you go to another job and hey, we need the logo for fucking Park MGM. Oh yeah, I worked at this agency and they had all the property logos. I have that. Now you have value to your position. You don't have to go track all this fucking shit down to get a little vector logo. Hey, I already have that. I have that image, right? I have all these images for fucking Jersey Boys. I have all these images for this, for XYZ, whatever it might be. I have a library of all these assets that I've collected throughout the years that were just going to sit there. So I fucking took them with me.
Why not? Yeah.
Until Adobe came cloud-based, I would always liberate the entire font library from everywhere I worked. I copied that over to my shit. I'm like, I got free fonts. These fonts are mine.
Look at all these fonts I have now.
Exactly.
Bought every single one of them.
Sure did. So okay, hold on. I need to take a quick break. I'll be right back. So please pause this second. You guys can talk amongst yourself.
Hold on.
Pause.
And we're back.
And we're back. Okay, so again, we go with the map. I lay this shit out. It looks cool. I think it looks cool. We presented, we'll do an actual hard copy, present it to the CEO. He's like, cool, I like it. Let's run with it. I package everything how the printer wants it, ship it off. Boom, done. Right? We get it back a week and a half later. Everyone loves the cover. They're like, holy shit, this looks great. I open it up and I'm just like, this looks good. And then I start realizing that I catch little mistakes here and there. I'm like, fuck. There's a column that bleeds into the picture. There's words that get cut off. There's certain words that get cut off. There's some alignment issues. The font is too small. The images are not as big as I thought they were going to be when I printed out. Now we have a shitty printer. It wasn't the best printer. It's a startup. It's 100% a startup. Like when you said, hey, I'm going to print out these pictures and put them on the wall. Yeah, you don't have that luxury. You had a cubicle that was open space and you didn't have that, right? So, I mean, we have a big meeting and everyone has a copy. And I'm just like, as I go through it, I catch all the little imperfections. And I'm just
Please don't catch anything. Please don't catch anything.
Right? Not designers, they ain't gonna fucking see it. Then I'm gonna look at it like I do.
If I don't say anything, they won't say anything.
Yeah, and then they go, "This looks great. This looks awesome. Fucking this is this and that, and nothing but compliments." Right? Bam, out the gate, everyone's like, "This is awesome. This looks great. We're coming out the gate hot." The publisher is great. Now, when we sent this shit off to print, him and I were there till 7:00, finishing up the magazine because of editing, and we were still working our SOPs. We went old school where I printed out 2 copies of the magazine, and then they by hand made their edits, and then I had to go back in there and fucking fix everything. Right?
Yep. That's how we do it still.
That's
how we do it still too.
I do the share the link on InDesign. That's what I did for the very next issue. I said, here's my share link. That way they could just fucking pin and comment and tell me exactly where their edits are at. So I don't have to look at it and then go on here and fucking third paragraph. Gotcha. That's where it's at. Like that shit. No, I nid that shit in the bud, and it worked for me. Might not work for everybody else. Obviously,
might not work for everybody. Everybody is different levels of tech savvy. That's all I'm gonna say. So I had tried to implement new stuff. If it works, I'm just not going to break it. I can deal with the extra time that it takes to read it manually. Just not going to. Just be compassionate with people. Not everybody's as tech savvy as us designers.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
true. That's very true, dude. Yeah, designers are very tech savvy.
So again, I get fucking mad compliments on the magazine. It looks great, And then we have I call it the after action review of, all right, tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly of this shit. So the CEO just calmly tells me, hey, we need to adjust the fonts. We need to, fix the map. The map works for now, but I want it to be fixed. Let's tweak it, right? And I'm like, okay, like, cool. I don't know what to do. I just kind of shit it out.
You're
so
like, fuck that fucking map.
So as every issue that went by, I got more and more confident in my skill set. I started having conversations with my editor, and him and I were figuring out how to work with each other. We figured out, okay, we need to reduce copy. We need to, I need to change the style of fonts. I need to research more fonts that read better, that are more fun to read. I need to figure out how to lay out each section. So as each issue that I pushed out, now again, the pressure of, hey, 100,000 eyeballs, roughly, can be on my design work. I never really thought about that until maybe issue 6, right? To me, I'm creating this quote-unquote magazine. I see the actual magazine, but it isn't until I'm out in the wild that I see it at Horseshoe, I see it at Aria, I see it at the Win, I see it being shared on social media. I'm helping with social media content, so we're pushing the magazine out even more. I see the traction coming in through the website. I'm helping building the website out too. I'm like, holy fuck, there is thousands of fucking eyeballs on my artwork that I push out every 2 weeks. I'm here sitting in my office at home or in the office at work, and I'm just designing shit. Da 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 da. This looks cool. This looks cool. This is legible. This is not legible. And then it hits me like, fuck, man, like there's a lot of people that see my shit. There's people that are sharing my shit. Like that's it puts a different sense of pride in you. It puts like a different oomph in you too.
And people are picking it up based on what you have designed.
Exactly. So I'm like, I need to now really tweak my shit. I need to own the magazine even more so. So then that's where I started developing the tweaking every issue. And one compliment that my publisher would always tell me, after every issue when we reviewed it before we shipped it, he goes, man, this looks awesome. This looks better than the last issue. This looks better than the last issue. And he would tell me, he goes, I'm noticing the differences that you're doing on every single issue. You're tweaking, you're fine tuning. And I was. I'm like, okay, the out and about section will now look like this. The Showtime section will look like this. I never stopped trying to perfect that magazine just because it was out. I had a template, I had a foundation, but it wasn't the foundation the full on direction, my final destination wasn't there with the first publication. It was shooting an azimuth in the direction that I wanted to go, and now I just need to tweak it due to the
constantly evolving.
Due to the constraints of the department that I ran, which was a department of one. I then realized that, hey, I need help. So 7 or 8 issues in, that's when I said, I need to start using my budget and I need to get freelancers. And I started kind of like just throwing shit here and there, one-offs. Hey, let me throw out to one freelancer. I don't really like their style. Let me throw out to this other freelancer. Don't really like this style. Throwing out to this freelancer. Ooh, I like her style. Shout out to Kai. She's a designer. She used to work with us. She was one of our interns back at Tropicana. She's a sergeant now. Congratulations, Kai, with the United States Marine Corps. She is, I think, a helicopter gunner or helicopter mechanic, one of the two. But she's still full active duty, United States Marine Corps, hell of an artist. And I reached out to her because she had reached out to me months before I started the magazine, asking if I knew anyone that was doing like freelance work. And when I did this shit, I remember her skill set, and I reached out to her and, did a little test, a paid test. And I mean, she knocked it out of the park, and I said, fuck it, I'm going to run with you. And I started handing her, two spreads, because at this time, I was, besides the ads, I was designing the entire publication in about 4 days. So in about 4 days, I would kick out an entire magazine. But I was doing, some of these days were very long because I just needed to. I was the art director, comes with the territory. And, when I realized, hey, 2 additional spreads could be sent out and that's less weight for me, that was a big help for me because I'm like, okay, I could focus a little bit longer on the cover. I could focus a little bit longer on the big feature wells. But then like also her style was meshing with my style, so it looked like it was just one tone. And then
Cohesive.
cohesive. Two spreads turned into 3 spreads, turned into 4 spreads, turned into 5 spreads. Right. So I was like, okay, cool. I could still hand her very fun stuff. She's getting paid. She's making extra money. She's having fun. She matches the tone of the magazine. She's always on time. She's super, super reliable. So, hey, you're my main artist. It's
That's
me
awesome.
and you kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So
that's great.
she helped me. I want to say from issue 10 or 9, 8. I have to go back until the very end. She helped me. I always was able to toss something to her and communicate. So again, if you're a department of 1, but you have the budget to reach out for freelancers, do it because that lightens your load, but that also gives extra life to your artwork that it might need it. And then that's that competitive and creativity they start mixing in together, like a salsa, like a nice good salsa. You can't just make salsa with jalapeno. You need everything else in to make that bitch fucking taste good. It's the same thing with the magazine.
Nah, jalapeno all the way.
So obviously you guys saw the very first issue, and this is the last issue. It didn't go to print. This was the very last issue, and some of the links are broken, but I mean, from the header and our cover lines to how our ads were, I redesigned the table of contents.
Nice.
This is the table of contents, how I designed it at the very beginning of 2025 from what it originally was. You guys saw the very first page. So every issue I would tweak things. The editor's letter, I changed up a bit. The That's Hot section also changed. I worked behind that one. The out and about sections,
great section.
Big photo first publication. Photo first. On it, again, the out and about section, creating these tabs for it so you know what section you were on. So the entire look and feel changed. Like it's day and night, celebrity takeovers from the first publication to the last one. Our nightclub stuff. And that's where I was just so happy. Like I finally got in the groove of being able to highlight the magazine how I actually wanted it from the very first time. I just needed time to create what I needed to, and the time frame and the knowledge to finally push out something that was awesome. Right?
Yeah, it looks great.
So, I did this photo shoot here with this bartender, this drink, Pine the Prom Pros, touched her up. We did this. We were supposed to do this sector. These are my photographs here, except for this top one. That's a cell phone photo. But we called it Budget Bougie. I took these photographs. We went to 3 different tiers of 3 restaurants at 3 different price points.
These are your photos of the burgers?
Yeah, this one's not mine. But yes, this burger right here, Echo and Rig. And this one right here is my photo. I shot with this one here for this bartender and this drink. So I was getting some of my stuff published too. Some of my shit was on there. So that also helps being the art director. But again, you could see the difference between issue 1 and issue 22, right? Like it's fucking day and night. Got to do some shit with UFC, with off road.
That's Pete Unleashed.
And then the map. I'll show you. Let me see. Where's the map?
Oh yeah, show us that map. The motherfucking map.
The map. The last version that I did was, and same thing. Well, with the map too. It was, I think, 600,000 copies at a time to have the better, the better rate.
Because they would just insert it, right?
Yeah. So that was also like, hey, if you fuck something up, guess what? We have 600,000 copies of that shit. So, don't
better
fuck
double
it up.
check, triple check.
Yeah. Exactly. So after I did the first map, the owner was like, "Hey, I just want this bitch on white. Tweak a few things, but I just want it on white." And that's what I did. Right. So I
Oh,
changed the
nice. Okay.
header. I changed the header on
Yeah.
there.
I think it looks better in white.
I added the Tix 4 because that was one of the sister companies, and just went around with, or sorry, changed the logos up a little bit, cleaned it up completely, and I liked it. I was like, it looks cool, it's functional, it's minimal, but it works. It works, right? Anywhere you could look at it, there's no confusion. There's not all these multiple streets. Here's the 15. Here's the strip. Here's the major streets. Out the door.
Tropicana, Flamingo. Right? Yep. Yeah, it looks great.
And when we met with concierge at the concierge event, they're like, "Hey, we love this map." We're like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh shit, really?" Like,
wow.
Yeah. They're like,
it's simplified. That's why.
We're like, we love this map. It's easy to use. It's you open right up to it. We like it. But it's different from everything else that's out there. And I'm like, fuck yeah, score. Like, see, I told you my shit was on point. But yeah, I mean, it was one hell of a ride to create that, and it's more than just when you work at a startup, you have to think outside of the box of just, hey, this is the work that I have to do. You have to manage your department. Even if you're a department of one, you have to think of everything else that goes with it, right? When you work at an agency or a big company, everything's kind of set up for you, right? You have how you get your jobs, you have your coordinator, you have, everything else. And then when you start from zero, you're like, okay, I need to implement all my SOPs. I need to have something to track my jobs, not just go through emails, because that shit's just going to get a fucking pain in the ass, or you're going to lose some stuff. Or, some people are going to lie and say, oh, I sent you that fucking 3 weeks ago. No, I didn't see that shit. And it's just thinking outside of the box of just like, hey, I'm a graphic designer. Hand me stuff and I'm going to do it. No, now you need to go track shit down. You need to implement SOPs. You need to be on people's asses. You need to communicate. You need to work as a team. And that's why I also love so much about Vegas Prime was that I developed the magazine from the ground up. I was able to create 22 covers, some of them more unique than others. I still love that F1 cover. That was my favorite one.
Yeah, that was the best.
That's a really dope one.
Having 100,000 people, having 100,000 copies printed every other week, and that being around the market, like that's also pressure in itself, because you're like, shit, I need to create something fucking dope every single time, as close as possible. But then it's just me. But the biggest part for me that like my pride kicks in, Las Vegas Magazine and Vital Vegas stepped up their game because of me. I'll fucking be as cocky as fuck on that. They changed the way that their socials were being posted, and the way that they were laying out their spreads and their type. They were having more fun with it, and it felt like that was the sleeping giant that was hanging out, and they knew no one could compete with them. And then I came along, and they were like, "Oh shit, I need to crank my shit up a little bit more." And they create awesome stuff. Las Vegas Magazine creates amazing shit. I love the way that they design, but it made them step it up just a bit more. And to me, I'm like, fuck yeah! Like I rattled some cages, and I was able to fucking do that. And even though the magazine failed, I have no regrets. But it was extremely fucking fun. Yeah, I mean that's the journey of creating a magazine from scratch.
It's a great journey, and it sounds super fun. I've only come from stressful, but also
good stress.
You get to flex the entire time. You're flexing from the start all the way to ultimately when the magazine is finished. I mean, like you said, you kept iterating and like looking at stuff and like reiterating it and making sure, hey, this doesn't really flow that well, let's change it up and do it this way, and like making sure that it's polished every issue. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I definitely believe that you had a great ride with that magazine, and unfortunately it went under, but I think you learned so much from it.
Taught you a lot.
Yeah. And it sounds like you love magazine layout. You have that under your roster now.
Yeah, I hated long format shit before I started in the magazine. I'm like, man, I do not like doing this shit whatsoever. But given
It's
when I'm
fun.
given freedom to
It
design
is.
shit like this, that's what to me I'm like, I'm really fucking good at magazine layout. Like now I do like seeing my name on the masthead when the magazine is published. Like that is also a sense of
Yeah.
pride. When you open up a magazine and you show your friends and you go, art director, bam, and you're like, hey, check it out. Here's my
Yeah.
fucking name, bro. Check this shit out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sense of pride is fucking awesome.
Good shit, man.
But
So
yeah, man.
So let's wrap this episode up. And
Yeah,
what's your advice, Pete, for your magazine? Like, what's your number one advice if you're given a magazine that you have to design from the ground up? What's the number one advice you would give somebody?
I mean, I don't really have a number one advice, but I would say communicate, have fun, and do your research. That's the biggest thing. Communication with your departments. Do your research.
One thing to that?
You could add whatever you want, man. But I'd say just
I think that you missed one very important one that you did that we do not think about. Fucking create structure. You created structure because you are, and that's why you probably don't even think about that. You probably don't think it's really important because you already do it automatically wherever you go. But create fucking structure for that. And that's so important because what you said, like, I create a structure to make sure that everybody's accountable. It's not about the lying shit. It's just make everybody accountable for their shit. And then there's nobody could fuck up because they're like, shit. If
makes it safe for everybody.
So, I've been, it's funny that you say that because I've been playing around with the idea of me being a creative, like art department advisor, of coming in to agencies or work departments, wherever it might be, and hey, let me check your boxes to tell you how the best efficiency to run your art department. Like this is the best way based on your organization chart of the shit that you can flow and run with that would make you guys successful.
Honestly, dude, like
you should try it.
That's another topic. But I was
$10,000.
Yeah, dude, I was literally telling that to someone. I was telling someone that this like weekend. I was like, us and people our age or that have been seasoned already designers, we're in a really good position where all this AI bullshit's coming in. Like we could just be advisors. We could just literally create a business as a design advisor, and you should fucking do that, Pete. Just a design advisor. People create their shit on Canva. They bring it to you and like, hey, what do you think? Oh, you know what? What do you want? You want me to give you as a creative director feedback so you could change this on your own on Canva, or do you want me to do it for you, which I'll charge you extra? So I think that that's something that you should fucking do it, Pete. Become a fucking advisor, bro.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps up tonight's episode. Or sorry, any final thoughts?
We forgot the other ones, fool. The other ones. What's your advice, Sly?
Oh yeah. My bad. I'm a little buzzed.
Well, my bad. My advice, and it's something that you probably take away from this episode, listening all the way through it, keep iterating on what you're doing. Pete kept saying it. He didn't stop at what he was doing. He didn't say, oh, this magazine's already great, even though, your publisher and your editor were like, this is amazing. This is better than the last issue. Okay, I'm going to keep upping it. I'm going to keep trying to do better. And you should keep trying to do that in everything that you're doing within your design, because if you just stay like, oh yeah, I'm already great, you're going to become stagnant. You have to keep iterating on everything.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, that's solid advice. Yeah, and I mean, you guys know me. I'm obsessed with what we do. I eat shit and fucking breathe graphic design. So, I love this stuff, and it's I just keep pushing. So,
yeah. Right, my advice, bitch. Skip your motherfucker.
Man, you keep. What's your advice, Martin?
You know what, bro? I thought
you gave your advice.
I know he touched on yours. He's like, "Here, let me add something to yours."
No, I just said let me add to your shit because you're missing something very important, bro. Your structure.
Okay.
What is Martin's advice?
Here's my advice. There's never fucking time, bro. There's never time for shit. Never, ever, ever. So you have to make time for the shit that matters. So something that I learned being unemployed is that it doesn't matter if you're working or not. There's never fucking time to do shit that you really want to do or shit you got to do. So you got to make time for it. I'm still like figuring that out as I go. But
for sure.
But, you know,
there's
first
never
step
time
is
for
admitting.
Martin.
This is the first step is admitting, like, shit, I need to get shit done. Yeah. So make time for the shit that really matters. And yeah, that's my advice. What do you guys think about that shit?
Sure.
What you need, Martin, is structure. That's what you need. You
should
structure.
hire Pete. You should hire Pete for $10,000.
You need structure. That's what you need.
He's gonna be like,
I won't call you unemployed. I'll call you as an independent contractor. You need structure.
I'm unemployed. I don't work. I just stay home.
You employ yourself as a
I
freelancer.
understand, but I'm saying like you need structure.
Projects, okay, leave me alone.
You need structure on even as a freelancer being home, like working on these other projects, but intertwine that structure with having that liberty of being at home. So it's like you know, get to your office at whatever hour it is that you're gonna get, but make it consistent. And then also, hey, you could work till noon, and at noon, from noon to 2, it's you and Churro at the park, and it's training. You could train your dog. You know, that's part of it because you have that liberty to do it. And then back and finish shit and personal projects and stuff for the podcast and all the other shit you just need. You need that structure. But good call out on that. I guess I never thought about that, but yeah, it's definitely a fundamental of mine that I've been part of 2 startups so far. And I've had to build that structure because there's more things that go to it. Now, part of 3 startups. It's vital. It's vital to have those pillars. It's vital to have that because you have to think outside of the box of, you know, you own part of that company in a way because it's also representing you, you know, especially when thousands of eyeballs or potential investors and friends look at it, it's representing you. So that wraps up this episode. I hope you guys had a great listen.
Thank you so much.
Take it away.
Thank you so much for listening to us. If you made it all the way here, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, comment down below. Did you like this episode? Was there anything that stood out to you? Follow us on Instagram, like, subscribe there as well, and on the TikTok as well. I think we're going to be posting there more.
Yeah, I think so.
Good night, guys.
Maybe.
Peace out.
Bye. Peace out.